हेलो एवरीवन, मैरी क्रिसमस। तो आज हम शुरू करेंगे ज्योग्राफी एनसीईआरटी क्लास 12। तो इसका दो बुक है, फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी और इंडिया ए जनरल ज्योग्राफी। तो आज हम शुरू करेंगे फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी और ये ख़त्म होने के बाद हम शुरू करेंगे इंडिया ए जनरल ज्योग्राफी। तो आज हम ये शुरू कर रहे हैं। तो इसका फर्स्ट चैप्टर देखेंगे। हमारा इसका चैप्टर 1 है ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी, नेचर एंड स्कोप। तो शुरू करते हैं। You have already studied geography as a discipline in chapter 1 of the book Fundamentals of Physical Geography. Do you recall the contents? This chapter has broadly covered and introduced you to the nature of geography. You are also acquainted with the important branches that sprout from the body of geography. If you reread the chapter, you will be able to recall the link of human geography with the mother discipline that means geography. As you know, geography as a field of study is integrative, empirical, and practical. Thus, the reach of geography is extensive, and each and every event or phenomena which varies over space and time can be studied geographically. How do you see the Earth's surface? Do you realize that the Earth comprises two major components: nature, physical environment, and life forms, including human beings? Make a list of physical and human components of your surroundings. Physical geography studies physical environment, and human geography studies the relationship between the physical or natural and the human world. The spatial distributions of human phenomena and how they come about, the social and economic differences between different parts of the world. You are already aware of the fact that the core concern of geography as a discipline is to understand the earth as home of human beings and to study all those elements which have sustained them. Thus, emphasis is on study of nature and human beings. You will realize that wide-ranging that geography got subjected to dualism, and wide-ranging debates started whether geography as a discipline should be a law-making or theorizing, normative or descriptive, ideographic, whether its subject matter should be organized, and approach of the study should be regional or systematic, whether geographical phenomena be interpreted theoretically or through historic institutional approach. These have been issues for intellectual exercise, but finally you will appreciate that the dichotomy between physical and human is not a very valid one, because nature and human are inseparable elements and should be seen holistically. It is interesting to note that both physical and human phenomena are described in metaphors using symbols from the human anatomy. We often talk of the face of the earth, eye of the storm, mouth of the river, snout, nose of the glacier, neck of the isthmus, and profile of the soil. Similarly, regions, villages, towns have been described as organisms. German geographers describe the state or country as a living organism. Networks of roads, railway, and waterways have often been described as arteries of circulation. Can you collect such terms and expressions from your own language? The basic questions now arises: can we separate nature and human when they are so intricately intertwined? Human geography defined. Human geography is the synthetic study of relationship between human societies and our surface. Result. Synthesis has been emphasized in the above definition. Human geography is the study of the changing relationship between the unresting man and the unstable earth. Alan C. Semple. Dynamism is the relationship is the key word in Semple's definition. conception resulting from a more synthetic knowledge of the physical laws governing our earth and the relations between the living beings which inhabit it. Paul Vidal de la Vleche. Human geography offers a new conception of the interrelationship between earth and human beings. Nature of human geography. Human geography studies the interrelationship between physical environment and socio-cultural environment created by human beings through mutual interaction with each other. You have already studied the elements of physical environment in class 11 in the book entitled Fundamentals of Physical Geography. You know that these elements are landforms, soil, climate, water, natural vegetation, and diverse flora and fauna. Can you make a list of elements which human beings have created through their activities on the stage provided by the physical environment? Houses, villages, cities, road rail networks, industries, farms, ports, items of our daily use, and all other elements of material culture have been created by human beings using the resources provided by the physical environment. While physical environment has been greatly modified by human beings, it has also in turn impacted human lives. Naturalization of humans and humanization of nature. Human beings interact with their physical environment with the help of technology. It is not important what human beings produce and create, but it is extremely important with the help of what tools and techniques do they produce and create. Technology indicates the level of cultural development of society. Human beings were able to develop technology after they developed better understanding of natural laws. For example, the understanding of concepts of friction and heat helped us discover fire. Similarly, understanding the secrets of DNA and genetics enabled us to conquer many diseases. We use the laws of aerodynamics to develop faster planes. You can see that knowledge about nature is extremely important to develop technology, and technology loosens the shackles of environment on human beings. In the early stages of their interaction with their natural environment, humans were greatly influenced by it. They adapted to the dictates of nature. This is so because the level of technology was very low and the stage of human social development was also primitive. This type of interaction between primitive human society and strong forces of nature was termed as environmental determinism. At the stage of very low technological development, we can imagine the presence of a naturalized human who listened to nature, was afraid of its fury, and worshipped it. The naturalization of humans. Benda lives in the wilds of the Abuzmad area of central India. His village consists of 3 huts deep in the wilds. Not even birds or stray dogs that usually crowd villages can be seen in these areas. Wearing a small loin cloth and armed with his axe, he slowly surveys the penda or forest where his tribe practices a primitive form of agriculture called shifting cultivation. Benda and his friends burn small patches of forest to clear them for cultivation. The ash is used for making the soil fertile. Benda is happy that the mahua trees around him are in bloom. How lucky I am to be a part of this beautiful universe, he thinks as he looks up to see the mahua, palas, and sal trees that have sheltered him since childhood. Crossing the Penda in a gliding motion, Benda makes his way to a stream. As he bends down to scoop off a palmful of water, he remembers to thank Loi Lugi, the spirit of the forest, for allowing him to quench his thirst. Moving on with his friends, Benda chews on succulent leaves and roots. The boys have been trying to collect Gazara and Kujla from the forest. These are special plants that Benda and his people use. He hopes the spirits of the forest will be kind and lead him to these herbs. These are needed to barter in the Madhai or tribal fair coming up the next full moon. He closes his eyes and tries hard to recall what the elders had taught him about these herbs and places they are found in. He wishes he had listened more carefully. Suddenly there is a rustling of leaves. Benda and his friends know it is the outsiders who have come searching for them in the wilds. In a single fluid motion, Panda and his friends disappear behind the thick canopy of trees and become one with the spirit of the forest. The story in the box represents the direct relationship of a household belonging to an economically primitive society with nature. Read about other primitive societies which live in complete harmony with their natural environment. You will realize that in all such cases, nature is powerful force, worshipped, revered, and conserved. There is direct dependence of human beings on nature for resources which sustain them. The physical environment for such societies becomes the mother nature. The people begin to understand their environment and the forces of nature with the passage of time. With social and cultural development, humans develop better and more efficient technology. They move from a state of necessity to a state of freedom. They create possibilities with the resources obtained from the environment. The human activities create cultural landscape. The imprints of human activities are created everywhere. Health resorts on highlands, huge urban sprawls, fields, orchards and pastures in plains and rolling hills, ports on the coast, oceanic routes on the ocean surface, and satellites in the space. The earlier scholars termed this as possibilism. Nature provides opportunity and human beings make use of this, and slowly nature gets humanized and starts bearing the imprints of human endeavor. Humanization of nature. Winters in the town of Trondheim mean fires, winds, and heavy snow. The skies are dark for months. Kari drives to work in the dark at 8 a.m. She has special tires for the winter and keeps the headlights of her powerful car switched on. Her office is artificially heated at a comfortable 23 degrees Celsius. The campus of the university she works is built under a huge glass dome. This dome keeps the snow out in the winter and lets in the sunshine in the summer. The temperature is controlled carefully and there is adequate lighting. Even though fresh vegetables and plants don't grow in such harsh weather, Kari keeps an orchard on her desk and enjoys eating tropical fruits like banana and kiwi. These are flown in from warmer areas regularly. With a click of the mouse, Kari can network with colleagues in New Delhi. She frequently takes a morning flight to London and returns in the evening in time to watch her favorite television serial. Though Kari is 58 years old, she is fitter and looks younger than many 30-year-olds in other parts of the world. Can you imagine what has made such a lifestyle possible? It is technology that has allowed the people of Tottenham and others to overcome the constraint imposed by nature. Do you know about some other such instances? Such examples are not difficult to find. A geographer, Griffith Taylor, introduced another concept which reflects the middle path, Madhyam mark between the two ideas of environmental determinism and possibilism. He termed it as neo-determinism or stop-and-go determinism. Those of you who live in cities and those who have visited a city might have seen that traffic is regulated by lights on the crossroads. Red light means stop, amber light provides a gap between red and green lights. to get set and green light means go. The concept shows that neither is there a situation of absolute necessity, environmental determinism, nor is there a condition of absolute freedom, possibilism. It means that human beings can conquer nature by obeying it. They have to respond to the red signals and can proceed in their pursuits of development when nature permits the modifications. It means that possibilities can be created within the limits which do not damage the environment, and there is no free run without accidents. The free run which the developed economics attempted to take has already resulted in the greenhouse effect, ozone layer depletion, global warming, receding glaciers, and degrading lands. The neo-determinism conceptuality attempts to bring a balance, nullifying the either-or dichotomy. Human geography through the corridors of time. The process of adaptation, adjustment with and modification of the environment started with the appearance of human beings over the surface of the earth in different ecological niches. Thus, if we imagine the beginning of human geography with the interaction of environment and human beings, it has its roots deep in history. Thus, the concerns of human geography have a long temporal continuum, though the approaches to articulate them have changed over time. This dynamism in approaches and thrust shows the vibrant nature of the discipline. Earlier, there was little interaction between different societies, and the knowledge about each other was limited. Travelers and explorers used to disseminate information about the areas of their visit. Navigational skills were not developed and voyages were fraught with the dangers. The late 15th century witnessed attempts of explorations in Europe, and slowly the myths and mysteries about countries and people started to open up. The colonial period provided impetus to further explorations in order to assess the resources of the regions and to obtain inventarized information. The intention here is not to present an in depth historical account but to make you aware of the processes of steady development of human geography. The summarized table will introduce you to the broad stages and the thrust of human geography as a subfield of geography. Welfare or humanistic school of thought in human geography was mainly concerned with the different aspects of social well-being of the people. This included aspects such as housing, health, and education. Geographers have already introduced a paper as Geography of Social Well-being in the postgraduate curriculum. Radical school of thought employed Marxian theory to explain the basic cause of poverty, deprivation, and social inequality. Contemporary social problems were related to the development of capitalism. Behavioral school of thought laid great emphasis on lived experiences and also on the perception of space by social categories based on ethnicity, race, and religion, etc. तो ये है टेबल 1.1 जिसमें ब्रॉड स्टेजेस एंड थ्रस्ट ऑफ ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी के बारे में दिया गया है. Period approaches broad features. Early colonial period exploration and description. Imperial and trade interests prompted the discovery and exploration of new areas. An encyclopedic description of the area formed an important aspect of the geographer's account. Later colonial period, regional analysis. Elaborate description of all aspects of region were undertaken. The idea was that all regions were part of a whole, that means the earth. So, understanding the parts in totality would lead to an understanding of the whole. 1930s through the interwar period, areal differentiation. The focus was on identifying the uniqueness of any region and understanding how and why it was different from others. Late 1950s to late 1960s, spatial organization. Marked by the use of computers and sophisticated statistical tools, laws of physics were often applied to map and analyze human phenomena. This phase was called the quantitative revolution. The main objective was to identify mappable patterns for different human activities. 1970s, emergence of humanistic radical and behavioral schools. Discontentment with the quantitative revolution and its dehumanized manner of doing geography led to the emergence of three new schools of thought of human geography in the 1970s. Human geography was made more relevant to the socio-political reality by the emergence of these schools of thought. Consult the box below to know a little bit more about the schools of thought. 1990s Postmodernism in geography. The grand generalizations and the applicability of universal theories to explain the human condition were questioned. The importance of understanding each local context in its own right was emphasized. Fields and subfields of human geography. Human geography, as you have seen, attempts to explain the relationship between all elements of human life and the space they occur over. Thus, human geography assumes a highly interdisciplinary nature. It develops close interface with other sister disciplines in social sciences in order to understand and explain human elements on the surface of the earth. With the expansion of knowledge, new subfields emerged, and it has also happened to human geography. Let us examine these fields and subfields of human geography. You would have noticed that the list is large and comprehensive. It reflects the expanding realm of human geography. The boundaries between subfields often overlap. What follows in this book in the form of chapters will provide you a fairly widespread coverage of different aspects of human geography. The exercises, the activities, and the case studies will provide you with some empirical instances so as to have a better understanding of its subject matter. तो ये है टेबल 1.2 जिसमें ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी एंड सिस्टर डिसिप्लिन ऑफ सोशल साइंस दिया गया है. तो देखते हैं फील्ड्स ऑफ ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी, सब फील्ड इंटरफेस विथ सिस्टर डिसिप्लिन ऑफ सोशल साइंस. सोशल ज्योग्राफी जिसका है सोशियोलॉजी. बिहेवियरल ज्योग्राफी है साइकोलॉजी. ज्योग्राफी ऑफ सोशल वेलबिंग, वेलफेयर इकोनॉमिक्स. ज्योग्राफी ऑफ लीजर, सोशियोलॉजी. Cultural geography, anthropology. Gender geography, sociology, anthropology, women's studies. Historical geography, history. Medical geography, epidemiology. Urban geography का है urban studies and planning. Political geography, political science जिसमें electoral geography है सेफोलॉजी. Military geography है military science. Population geography है डेमोग्राफी. Settlement geography है urban और rural planning. इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी जो कि इकोनॉमिक्स है उसमें है ज्योग्राफी ऑफ रिसोर्सेज, रिसोर्स इकोनॉमिक्स. ज्योग्राफी ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर, एग्रीकल्चर साइंसेस. ज्योग्राफी ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज, इंडस्ट्रियल इकोनॉमिक्स. ज्योग्राफी ऑफ मार्केटिंग, बिजनेस स्टडीज, इकोनॉमिक्स, कॉमर्स. ज्योग्राफी ऑफ टूरिज्म, टूरिज्म एंड ट्रैवल मैनेजमेंट. ज्योग्राफी ऑफ इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड, इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज। और क्योंकि फर्स्ट चैप्टर छोटा सा था तो अभी हम सेकेंड चैप्टर शुरू करेंगे, जो कि है द वर्ल्ड पॉपुलेशन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन डेंसिटी एंड ग्रोथ। Not gold, but only women can make a people great and strong. Women who, for truth and honor's sake, stand fast and suffer long. Women who toil while others sleep, who dare while others flee. They build a nation's pillars deep and lift it to the sky. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The people of a country are its real wealth. It is they who make use of the country's resources and decide its policies. Ultimately, a country is known by its people. It is important to know how many women and men a country has, how many children are born each year, how many people die, and how. Whether they live in cities or villages, can they read or write, and what work do they do? These are what you will study about in this unit. The world at the beginning of 21st century recorded the presence of over 6 billion population. We shall discuss the patterns of the distribution and density here. Why do people prefer to live in certain regions and not in others? The population of the world is unevenly distributed. The remark of George B. Cressy about population of Asia, that Asia has many places where people are few and few places where people are very many, is true about the pattern of population distribution and of the world also. Patterns of population distribution in the world. Patterns of population distribution and density help us to understand the demographic characteristics of any area. The term population distribution refers to the way people are spaced over the Earth's surface. Broadly, 90% of the world's population live in about 10% of its land area. The 10 most populous countries of the world contribute about 60% of the world's population. Of these 10 countries, 6 are located in Asia. Identify these 6 countries of Asia. Density of population. Each unit of land has limited capacity to support people living on it. Hence, it is necessary to understand the ratio between the numbers of people to the size of land. This ratio is the density of population. It is usually measured in persons per square kilometer. Density of population equals to population by area. For example, area of region X is 100 square kilometer and has population, and the population is 1,50,000 persons. The density of population is calculated as density equals to 1,50,000 by 100 equals to 1500 person per square kilometer. What does that tell you about region X? Look at the map given below, जो कि ये है वर्ल्ड डेंसिटी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन 2001. Do you observe that some areas are really crowded? These are the densely populated parts of the world with more than 200 persons on every square kilometer. These are the northeastern part of USA, northwestern part of Europe, South and Southeast and East Asia. Other areas like those near the north and south poles, the hot and the cold deserts, and high rainfall zones near the equator have very low density of population. These are the sparsely populated regions of the world with less than 1 person per square kilometer. In between these two types are the areas of medium density. There are 11 to 50 persons per square kilometer in these areas. Western China, southern India in Asia, Norway, Sweden in Europe are some examples. Look at the figure and identify some other areas. Factors influencing the distribution of population. Geographical factors. Availability of water. It is the most important factor for life. So people prefer to live in areas where fresh water is Easily available. Water is used for drinking, bathing, and cooking, and also for cattle, crops, industries, and navigation. It is because of this that river valleys are among the most densely populated areas of the world. Landforms. People prefer living on flat plains and gentle slopes. This is because such areas are favorable for the production of crops and to build roads and industries. The mountainous and hilly areas hinder the development of transport networks and hence initially do not favor agricultural and industrial development. So these areas tend to be less populated. The Ganga plains are among the most densely populated areas of the world, while the mountain zones in the Himalayas are scarcely populated. Climate. An extreme climate such as very hot or cold deserts are uncomfortable for human habitation. Areas with comfortable climate where there is not much seasonal variation attract more people. Areas with very heavy rainfall or extreme and harsh climates have low population. Mediterranean regions were inhabited from early periods in history due to their pleasant climate. Soils. Fertile soils are important for agriculture and allied activities. Therefore, areas which have loamy soils have more people living on them as this can support intensive agriculture. Can you name some areas in India which are thinly populated due to poor soils? Economic factors. Minerals. Areas with mineral deposits attract industries. Mining and industrial activities generate employment. So, skilled and semi skilled workers move to these areas and make them densely populated. Katanga Zambia copper belt in Africa is one such good example. Urbanization. Cities offer better employment opportunities, educational and medical facilities, better means of transport and communication. Good civic amenities and attraction of cities life draw people to the cities. It leads to rural to urban migration and cities grow in size. Megacities of the world continue to attract large number of migrants every year. Yet, city life can be very taxing. Think of some of the unpleasant aspects of city life. Industrialization. Industrial belts provide job opportunities and attract large numbers of people. These include not just factory workers but also transport operators, shopkeepers, bank employees, doctors, teachers, and other service providers. The Kobe Osaka region of Japan is thickly populated because of the presence of a number of industries. Social and cultural factors. Some places attract more people because they have religious or cultural significance. In the same way, people tend to move away from places where there is social and political unrest. Many a times, governments offer incentives to people to live in sparsely populated areas or move away from overcrowded places. Can you think of some examples from your region? Population growth. The population growth or population change refers to the change in number of inhabitants of a territory during a specific period of time. These changes may be positive as well as negative. It can be expressed either in terms of absolute numbers or in terms of percentage. Population change in an area is an important indicator of economic development, social upliftment, and historical and cultural backgrounds of the region. Some basic concepts of population geography. Growth of population. Change of population in particular area between 2 points of time is known as growth of population. For example, if we deduct the population of India 2001, that is 102.70 crore, from population of 2011 121.02 crore, then we shall get the growth of population 18.15 crore in actual numbers. Growth rate of population. This is the change of population expressed in percentage. Natural growth of population. This is the population increased by difference between births and deaths in a particular region between 2 points of time. Natural growth equals to birth minus death. Actual growth of population. This is birth minus death plus in-migration minus out-migration. Positive growth of population. This happens when the birth rate is more than the death rate between 2 points of time. or when people from other countries migrate permanently to a region. Negative growth of population. If the population decreases between 2 points of time, it is known as negative growth of population. It occurs when the birth rate falls below the death rate or people migrate to other countries. Components of population change. There are three components of population change: births, deaths, and migration. The crude birth rate (CBR) is expressed as number of live births in a year per thousand of population. It is calculated as CBR equals to BI by P into 1000. Here CBR equals to crude birth rate, BI equals to live births during the year, P equals to median population of the area. Death rate plays an active role in population change. Population growth occurs not only by increasing birth rates but also due to decreasing death rate. Crude death rate (CDR) is a simple method of measuring mortality of an area. CDR is expressed in terms of number of deaths in a particular year per thousand of population in a particular region. CDR is calculated as CDR equals to D by P into 1000. Here CDR equals to crude death rate, D equals to number of death, P equals to estimated mid-year population of that year. By and large, mortality rates are affected by the region's demographic structures, social advancement, and levels of its economic development. Migration. Apart from the birth and death, there is another way by which the population size changes. When people move from one place to another, the place they move from is called the place of origin, and the place they move to is called the place of destination. The place of origin shows a decrease in population, while the population increases in the place of destination. Migration may be interpreted as a spontaneous effort to achieve a better balance between population and resources. Migration may be permanent, temporary, or seasonal. It may take place from rural to rural areas, rural to urban to urban areas, and urban to rural areas. Do you realize that the same person is both an immigrant and an immigrant? Immigration. Migrants who move into a new place are called immigrants. Emigration. Migrants who move out of a place are called emigrants. Can you think of reasons why people migrate? People migrate for a better economic and social life. There are two sets of factors that influence migration. The push factor make the place of origin seem less attractive for reasons like unemployment, poor living conditions, political turmoil, unpleasant climate, natural disaster, epidemics, and socio-economic backwardness. The pull factor make the place of destination seem more attractive than the place of origin for reasons like better job opportunities and living conditions, peace and stability, security of life and property, and pleasant climate. Trends in population growth. The population of the earth is more than 6 billion. It has grown to this size over centuries. In the early periods, population of the world grew very slowly. It is only during the last few hundred years that population has increased at an alarming rate. फिगर 2.3 जो कि ये है रिसोर्स टेक्नोलॉजी एंड पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ tells the story of population growth. After the evolution and introduction of agriculture about 8,000 to 12,000 years ago, the size of population was small, roughly 8 million in the first century AD. It was below 300 million. The expanding world trade during the 16th and 17th century set the stage for rapid population growth. Around 1750, at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, the world population was 550 million. World population exploded in the 18th century after the Industrial Revolution. Technological advancement achieved so far helped in the reduction of birth rate and provide a stage for accelerated population growth. How science and technology helped population growth. The steam engine replaced human and animal energy and also provided mechanized energy of water and wind. This increased agricultural and industrial production. Inoculation against epidemics and other communicable diseases, improvement in medical facilities and sanitation contributed to a rapid decline in death rates throughout the world. Do you know? Human population increased more than 10 times in the past 500 years. In the 20th century itself, the population has increased 4 times. Doubling time of world population. It took more than a million years for the human population to attain the 1 billion mark, but it took only 12 years for it to rise from 5 billion to 6 billion. See the table 2.1 carefully, which shows the doubling time of world population is reducing first. इसमें दिखाया गया है doubling time of world population. There is a great variation among regions in doubling their population. Table 2.2 shows that developed countries are taking more time to double their population as compared to developing countries. Most of population growth is taking place in the developing world, where population is exploding. Why is this so? तो ये है टेबल 2.2 जिसमें पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट दिखाया गया है 1995 से 2000 तक का. Spatial pattern of population change. Population growth in different parts of the world can be compared. The growth of population is low in developed countries as compared to developing countries. There is negative correlation between economic development and population growth. Although the annual rate of population change 1.4% seems to be low, table 2.3 it is actually not so. This is because when a small annual rate is applied to a very large population, it will lead to a large population change. Even if the growth rate continues to decline, the total population grows each year. The infant mortality rate may have increased as has the death rate during childhood. तो ये है टेबल 2.3 जिसमें ग्रोथ ऑफ पॉपुलेशन दिखाया गया है 2004 से 5 ओवर 1990 से 95 का कंपेयर करके दिखाया गया है इसमें. Impact of population change. A small increase in population is desirable in a growing economy. However, population growth beyond a certain level leads to problems. Of these, the depletion of resources is the most serious. Population decline is also a matter of concern. It indicates that resources that had supported a population earlier are now insufficient to maintain the population. The deadly HIV or AIDS epidemic in Africa and some parts of the Commonwealth of Independent States and Asia have pushed up death rates and reduced average life expectancy. This has slowed down population growth. Population growth rate. The annual population growth rate in India is 1.64%. Some developed countries will take 318 years to double their population, whereas some countries still do not show symptoms of doubling their population. Demographic transition. Demographic transition theory can be used to describe and predict the future population of any area. The theory tells us that population of any region changes from high births and high deaths to low births and low deaths as society progresses from rural, agrarian and illiterate to urban, industrial and literate society. These changes occur in the stages which are collectively known as the demographic cycle. तो ये है रूरल एग्रेरियन से डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन होके अर्बन इंडस्ट्रियल के लिए. द फिगर 2.5 एक्सप्लेन्स द 3 स्टेज मॉडल ऑफ डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन थ्योरी. तो ये है जिसमें डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन थ्योरी के बारे में दिखाया गया है जिसका कि 3 स्टेज है, स्टेज 1, स्टेज 2 और स्टेज 3. द फर्स्ट स्टेज has high fertility and high mortality because people reproduce more to compensate for the deaths due to epidemics and variable food supply. The population growth is slow and most of the people are engaged in agriculture where large families are an asset. Life expectancy is low, people are mostly illiterate and have low levels of technology. 200 years ago, all the countries of the world were in this stage. Fertility remains high in the beginning of second stage but it declines with time. This is accompanied by reduced mortality rate. Improvements in sanitation and health condition led to decline in mortality. Because of this gap, the net addition to population is high. In the last stage, both fertility and mortality decline considerably. The population is either stable or grows slowly. The population becomes urbanized, literate, and has high technical know how and deliberately controls the family size. This shows that human beings are extremely flexible and are able to adjust their fertility. In the present day, different countries are at different stages of demographic transition. Population control measures. Family planning is the spacing or preventing the birth of children. Access to family planning services is a significant factor in limiting population growth and improving women's health. Propaganda free availability of contraceptive and tax disincentives for large families are some of the measures which can help population control. Thomas Malthus, in his theory 1793, stated that the number of people would increase faster than the food supply. Any further increase would result in a population crash caused by famine, disease, and war. The preventive checks are better than physical checks. For the sustainability of our resources, the world will have to control the rapid population increase. तो ये था इस चैप्टर का तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज। तो आज हमने एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी क्लास 12 का 2 चैप्टर कंप्लीट किया और आज के लिए हमारा सेशन यहीं तक था। डेली लाइव क्लास के लिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन को क्लिक कर दीजिए। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर ज्वाइनिंग।